6 ways to retrain your brain out of chronic pain and symptoms. We know that the vast majority of chronic pain and symptoms are not due to structural damage or disease in the body. They're due to our brain and nervous system being stuck in a state of danger for a prolonged period of time. And then over time, our brain learns to produce chronic pain and chronic symptoms. We refer to this as neuroplastic pain and symptoms. Now, the great news about this, if there is great news with chronic pain and symptoms, is that when the pain and symptoms are neuroplastic, we can retrain our brain out of producing the sensations. Neuroplastic pain and symptoms, they're reversible. And in this video, we're going to go through 6 ways you can start to retrain your brain out of producing chronic pain and chronic symptoms. Number 1, creating new beliefs about your body, your pain, and your symptoms. We start treatment for retraining the brain out of chronic pain and symptoms by cultivating new beliefs about why they're actually there. For most of us, including myself when I had pain and symptoms, we're convinced that there's something really wrong with our body that's permanent and it's never going to go away. And as a result, we do constant physical assessments, trying to find a diagnosis with physicians, and we do all these physical treatments. But the problem is when pain and symptoms are neuroplastic, treating them physically isn't going to have a long-lasting effect. We need to go to the source of retraining our brain. And cultivating new beliefs is vital. Because if we keep believing that there's something really wrong with our body, that it's damaged or diseased in some way, the brain doesn't know the difference, even if your body is okay. So if you have a belief system that there's damage, but your body's actually okay, the problem is your brain will just keep producing the sensations. And so I always start with clients by developing new beliefs about our symptoms. We need to come to understand that they're neuroplastic in nature and that they're reversible, that our body's actually completely okay. I don't say this lightly because this is a hard thing to get to. It took me a long time to create new beliefs about my body and my pain because I believed that my back and different areas of my body were damaged for so many years. But we can start to gather evidence to create new beliefs. We can gather evidence that the pain is neuroplastic in nature or the symptom is neuroplastic in nature. Now, if you want to get started with creating new beliefs, I have a whole blog post on my website that I'll put down below that will help you go through the criteria for neuroplastic pain and symptoms, and you want to see where you relate. You don't have to relate to all of them on there. I've met people that only meet 3 or 4 of those criteria and their symptoms are still neuroplastic, but you want to review those criteria and start to gather evidence because this increases our belief that this is a brain and nervous system issue and that we can fully heal from this. Now, this belief isn't going to click on instantly. I don't think I fully believe my symptoms are neuroplastic until I was already doing this work and my pain had reduced by probably 70, 80%. And so just start small, start to gather some evidence, and start to change your belief system about your body and about your symptoms. Number 2, developing safe self-talk. For most of us, when we have chronic pain and symptoms, we have a lot of negative thinking that's taking place about our body and about our symptoms. This could be fear thoughts, telling yourself there's something really wrong with your body, I'm never going to get better. Despairing or hopeless thinking, where we're just sinking down into depression or a low mood. It could be things like obsessive thinking, where we're constantly thinking about our pain or symptom. 80, 90% of the day, we're just locked onto it. Negative thinking has a real effect on your physical sensations. It really does. It can perpetuate them forward. A lot of my approach, I'm doing more somatic work, but I do some work on thoughts and beliefs because if we have this negative thinking that's constantly taking place about our symptoms, it can be really hard to retrain our brain out of it. And so when we're retraining our brain with thoughts, we want to move to having safer thought patterns about our body and about our symptoms. And so at my clinic, we call this safe self-talk. You want to start to be giving yourself this cognitive safe self-talk about your symptoms and about your body. This could be telling yourself, I know my symptoms are neuroplastic, they're inconsistent, they're triggered by emotions. For this reason, I know my body is not damaged. Or telling yourself in the middle of a flare, this is temporary, it'll come back down, I can heal from this. These are examples of safe self-talk that you can start to feed yourself consistently. When I was retraining my brain out of my chronic pain, every time I noticed myself having an obsessive thought or a fearful thought about my symptom, I would quickly give myself some safe self-talk. It took 20, 30 seconds, but I was doing this throughout the day because I'm trying to rewire my brain to think differently about my body and about my symptoms. And that can have a real effect over time on reducing or eliminating your physical symptom that you're experiencing. I have a whole video on safe self-talk, and there's a somatic practice that you can, meditation that you can practice in that video. I'll put the link down below. If this is new information to you, please check that video out. Number 3, visualizing your healing and moving your body. Visualization is a really powerful tool that can help retrain our brain. We need to start to feed our brain these messages and this visualization that we can heal. So starting to visualize yourself healing, being able to use your body, being able to go back to work, to live more fully, and really do it in detail can help our brain rewire and help us understand that this is possible. When I was healing, I would spend 30 minutes to an hour each day in that first couple of months, visualizing myself starting to move my body, have less pain and symptoms, and be able to live more fully. And so starting to do some visualization is a good secret skill that you want to start to apply because it can help rewire our brain. And before you actually start to approach life again, visualization is like a good baby step. Sometimes approaching life or approaching movement, it's just too scary. We're too scared to do it. But we can start to visualize this and feed our brain these positive images that we're going to be able to do this. Number 4, somatic work with pain and physical symptoms. We often, in our nervous system, have a very dysregulated response to our pain and physical symptoms. This could include flight energy, feeling really anxious or nervous, fight energy, angry, irritated, annoyed, freeze or shutdown, where we're feeling despair, depression, numb, disconnected. When we have this dysregulated response constantly to the sensations of pain and symptoms, it causes our brain to feel more in danger and keeps this cycle going. It just keeps perpetuating them and worsening them over time. And so doing somatic work with pain and symptoms, I do this with every client. It's very essential. We need to drop into our body and create a different relationship with the sensations of the symptoms. A relationship based on curiosity, ease, interest, lightness, and a sense of safety. And if we can start to slowly feel a little bit safer, a little bit calmer as attending to the pain and symptoms, it takes away the fuel source for the pain and symptoms that's driving it forward, this fuel source of dysregulation. And so somatic work is very vital. It is a staple in terms of brain retraining. I did a whole embodiment practice a few weeks ago that is a great somatic exercise for pain and symptoms. I'll put the link down below. Check that video out. It'll explain it even further, and it'll help you go through one in practice. Somatic work with pain and symptoms, unless you're in the middle of a pain or symptom flare, I would recommend doing this every single day because it can help rewire your brain and move you closer to fully healing. Number 5, graded exposure to what you fear. Most of us, when we have pain or physical symptoms, and you're not to blame for this, this is just human nature, When we have these really unpleasant sensations, what we start to do is we start to avoid. We avoid anything and everything that we think might be a trigger for the sensations. This could include movements, positions, certain foods, certain times of day, certain activities, work or school. And we avoid more and more, and our world shrinks. And the more we avoid, the unfortunate part is the more it makes us dysregulated. Avoidance isn't the answer. It won't help you heal neuroplastic pain and symptoms. And by the end of my journey, I had this shell of a life where I was barely leaving my apartment. I was just like locked in there. Makes me a little emotional even talking about it now. I was just like locked into my apartment, barely moving, either lying in bed or sitting on this straight back chair, just disconnecting, watching TV. And so to heal, we need to start to do graded exposure where we slowly start to widen our world. We need to teach our brain again that movement's safe, positions are safe, activities are safe, certain foods are safe. Because when your symptoms are neuroplastic, it's not any of these things that are actually triggering them. What's happened is your brain has misinterpreted, for example, like walking equals danger. And so the more you avoid walking, the next time you have to do it, it just triggers pain. And we get really convinced when we have these associations develop that there must be something wrong with my body because when I walk, I have pain. But what's actually happened is your brain has just misinterpreted it. It's viewed the walking as dangerous. And our job with graded exposure is we're slowly retraining our brain that all these things that we've been avoiding are actually safe. And how we do that is we just slowly start to approach them. At first, when I was starting to do this, because I was basically bedbound by the end, I would walk back and forth my apartments for 2 to 5 minutes. And I'd be doing somatic work with pain and symptoms as I achieve this. But the one thing I want to be clear is I've never seen one person heal by keeping their life small and avoiding anything and everything that they think is triggering their symptoms. We need to gradually, slowly approach. Gradually and slowly is key here. Don't go run a marathon if you've been bedbound, little bits at a time. And after a few months, I was able to walk an hour. I was starting to get back to the gym. So progress is really possible here. And I want this for everyone. I want you to be able to fully use your body, fully move, fully do the activities, and live in life the way you want to. I have a whole video on 6 strategies for breaking condition responses, which are these associations we're talking about. I'll put that link down below. I lay it all out there. Exact roadmap of what you need to do to retrain your brain and start to fully use your body again. And finally, number 6, savoring pleasant sensations. This way of retraining the brain is often missed by a lot of people. I find people get so latched on to doing somatic work with pain, symptoms, emotion, nervous system dysregulation. And that's all important. Don't get me wrong. We need to process these unpleasant sensations, learn to create safety in the body. But I would say almost equally as important is learning to savor pleasant sensations inside or pleasant moments in your life. Now, when we have debilitating chronic pain, chronic symptoms, some of you might be swearing at me right now, and I get that because we don't have many of these. We don't have many pleasant sensations or moments. But throughout your day, there might be little ones that are 30 seconds. You feel a little bit calmer in your body. Your shoulders drop for a moment. Your jaw unclenches. Maybe you feel the warm pressure of your feet on the ground. Or you have a little pleasant moments. You see a video on your phone that makes you laugh. My partner, she always makes me look at baby animal videos. This is something we did early in our relationship. And when I was in pain, there were these little micro moments that created pleasantness and safety. This is very important because when we have pain and physical symptoms, we get so pulled in to hyper-focusing on what's unpleasant inside. But we need to teach our brain to gravitate towards pleasant experiences and pleasant sensations. And the way we do that is we start to savor those little moments when we're experiencing this internally or externally. We need to savor them. We need to showcase to our brain, I can attend to this. I can amplify this. I can live in this and be in this minute of time. Even if I have pain the rest of my day, I'm going to live in this minute and savor it. By doing this, this helps create safety and regulation in your brain and nervous system. And that's going to help you rewire your brain out of chronic pain and symptoms. Everything on the list so far that I've covered all has one factor in common. We're trying to cultivate a felt sense of safety. That's what we're doing with new beliefs, with changing our thoughts about our symptoms, with somatic work with pain and symptoms, with exposure, with everything. We're trying to create a sense of safety. And so with savoring pleasant moments or sensations, we're kind of going to the source. That creates a lot of safety for us. And so we can savor it, live in it. And over time, you'll get better at being in pleasant sensations and moments. And again, that's going to help retrain your brain out of chronic pain and symptoms. So do a little bit of this each day. It can be a really vital way to amplify your healing. So I hope this video was helpful. Please put your questions or comments down below. Hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, and I'll talk to you all soon. Take care.